Okay, so hi everyone. So yesterday we were discussing about window handling. So as part of window handling, how to handle multiple tabs or windows. Okay, how to work with these things. So I have seen yesterday. So how to handle those things. So we have in window handling. So we have mainly two methods are available. One is get window handle, and another one is get window handles. Where get window handle will be useful to get the parent window ID, and get window handles will be useful to get all the window IDs, where we can use these all window IDs and we check if it's not a parent window, then we're going to switch to the child window and we want to perform any operation we can perform on the child window. That's all we have discussed. So today we're going to discuss about one more concept called alerts. Alert. Okay. How you pronounce it? Alert. Okay, alerts. So first of all, what are alerts? So alerts are nothing but a small pop-up boxes or windows which will display the notifications or messages to the user who are using the application. Okay, small notification or it's a kind of small pop-up boxes will appear. Okay, on the web page. So these are called as alerts. So we will see how exactly alerts will look like. Okay, let me open the website and then we'll show you. Okay, let me open this website. So where we have three buttons, right? When we click on this button, normally there will be a pop-up will appear, some box will appear. So those are boxes, small boxes or pop-ups are called alerts in Selenium, and we need to handle those alerts. Okay. So let's click on this first button, click for JS alert. I got some pop-up here, right? It's saying I am a JS alert. So till you close the pop-up, we cannot perform any other operation on the window or the browser till you close the pop-up. Okay, so once you get a pop-up which is appear small box where it is showing the information to the user, some information, some text it will show. Once we read out the text and what exactly is saying, and if you have to close it, if you want to perform any other operation on the browser, these are called small boxes or pop-ups are called as alerts in Selenium. Okay, so these we need to handle. Okay, so once we get this kind of pop-ups, once we click on OK, so then only we can perform any other operation on this particular element. If you want to select the text, anything, if you want to do it, if you want to click on any other buttons, then only can perform once we close the pop-up. Okay, again when I click for alert, so I cannot do anything. Okay, if you see I'm trying to highlight the text, or if you want to click on any other buttons, nothing is happening. I need to close these pop-ups. I want to read this information and I want to close this pop-up so that I can actually do any other operation. Okay, so it is saying you successfully clicked an alert. Once I click on OK button, normally it is show successfully clicked on alert. When I refresh the page, when I click on this, I'll get an alert. I need to handle this. Handling is nothing but I need to click on OK button. Okay, until and unless I click on OK button, I cannot perform any other operation. So I need to click how to click on this OK button. Normally Selenium doesn't work clicking on this OK button. We cannot identify this also OK using HTML. Okay, there is a separate option. Now we can handle these alerts. So once you click on OK, then we get a successfully clicked an alert. So we see how to handle this. Click on OK button. So now let me write a code for this. Okay. Let me create a package and name it as alerts. And I'm going to create a class alerts. And I'm giving an example underscore example. And I want a public static void main. So now I'm going to reuse the same code to open the website. Okay. So this is a website location that I want to use. Okay. So now, once I open the website, once I click on this button, then only I'm getting this alert. Let me click on this button first so that we can get an alert and see how to handle those alerts. So now this is a button where you have a text called click for JS alert. Using this text, I'm going to write an XPath. With the help of this text, I'm going to write an XPath. How to write an XPath? / button. Please tell me. / button and then square brackets open and close. Inside square brackets, what I need to keep? I want to use this text to identify. Inside square brackets, what I need to keep?
Click as J select.
Pardon? I want to use this text, not JS alert. I want to use this text so that I can try to identify this element uniquely. If I write like this, there are three buttons are available. Okay, first button, second button, third button. Three buttons are available. Okay, these are highlighting. I want to identify the first button. Using the text, I want to identify. Inside the square brackets, we need to keep text. Text. Okay, this is how we need to write. You need to practice. Okay, text is equal to, in the civil codes, I need to copy this complete visible text, which is available in between the tags. Right? Using the text, I want to identify. Using visible text. In between the tags, I have some text. Using this visible text, I want to identify this element using XPath. Okay, this is how you have to write an XPath. So you should be thorough in writing XPaths and CSS selectors. Okay, just practice. Don't come like that without practicing to the class. You will not be able to understand. Okay, so driver dot find element by dot XPath. Inside this XPath, I'm going to keep the XPath. So this will give us a that particular button element. Okay. Okay. So now this web element I need to import. Okay. So this is a, let's name this, I will name this as a button one. Okay. So this button one we have identified. Right? Click for JS select. Once we identify this button, so we need to click on this button, right? Or else I don't want to click, I don't want to use web element, and I directly want to click on it. Click on the first this particular button element. Now once we click on this, I'm getting a pop-up, right? So now if I want to highlight this, see that won't, we cannot highlight, that is not a HTML code. That is a pop-up where we don't have any HTML code for that. It's a JavaScript kind of pop-up. It's not a HTML based code. Okay, it's a kind of JavaScript, not Java, JavaScript based pop-up. Okay, so where we cannot select also because that is not a HTML code. Okay, so how to handle this? How to click on this OK button? So that is where the alert, how to handle alerts that comes into picture in Selenium. There are certain features that Selenium is providing to handle this kind of alerts. So first we need to write, once we get an alert. So if you want to perform any operation inside alert, like if you want to click on OK button, right? I need to switch to the alert. Okay. I want to switch to the alert. Similarly, if I want to switch to the tabs yesterday, when we were discussing about window handling, so I want to use switch command to switch to any particular window using window ID, driver.switch to, right? Here also, if you want to switch to the current web page to the pop-up, because pop-up is something new, which is not an HTML code. So I need to switch to the alert. How exactly we're switching to the window? Similarly, we need to switch to the alert. Okay, we have a command driver.switch to .alert, where we can switch to the alert. Yesterday we are using driver.switch to .window, where we are passing the window ID. Now we have to use the same command, kind of similar command, driver.switch to .alert, where it will be navigating to, we are completely switching to this alert box so that we can perform any operation on this alert box once we switch. So once we click on this button, we got the alert. So immediately once we get an alert, then we have to switch to the alert, driver.switch to .alert. So this is the command which helps us to switch to the alert. Okay, so once we switch to the alert, then we can perform any operation inside the alert. I can click on OK button. Now I can perform. So this complete statement is given as a alert. So if you talk about, if you hover this on this alert, okay, this method, this is the final method, right? If you put your mouse on alert, this is giving us an alert where we can store it in a some alert. So where I need to import from org.openqa.selenium. Okay, org.openqa.selenium. Okay, now we can use this alert reference to perform this click operation. So once we switch to the alert, this gives us the alert reference. Using this reference, I can perform any operation on this particular pop-up. Now I want to click on OK button. If I want to click on OK button, okay, normally what we can do is alert dot. There is no click method because this is not a web element, not a HTML code where we want to click on it. There is a method called accept. So accept is nothing but clicking on OK button. Alert dot accept. So if we type like this alert dot accept, we already switched to the alert, and then the currently control will be on this particular alert box. Now we can use alert dot accept where it clicks on the OK button. Accept is nothing but where we click on OK button. Okay. But we have a no click method will be available. We have an accept method will be available. Accept method, what it will do, it will click on OK button. Clear? So once we click on OK button, now we can see some text here. Okay. How to make sure that whether it is clicking on OK button? Once we click for JS script, once we click on OK button, then only we'll get some result here, the text. Once we click on OK button, we get the result. We successfully clicked on an alert. Using Selenium, we want to do that. So we'll see that the code has completed. So first we have to switch to the alert, and then we get an alert reference. Using that reference, we can accept the alert, which is nothing but the clicking on. It's a kind of clicking on OK button inside the pop-up. It's a kind of clicking on OK button inside the pop-up. Okay. Now let us do this. Let us run this. It immediately clicked. Okay, we can see the text here. You successfully clicked on alert. Let us wait for some time so that we can clearly see the clicking part. Once I switch to the alert, before clicking, I want to wait for some time. Wait for 5 seconds. Okay. Now let me run this again. So open the website. Clicked on the button, switch to the alert. We're waiting for 5 seconds now. Click on OK button. Okay. So this is how we need to handle the alerts. Hope everyone clear. Right? So this is how we need to handle the alerts. This is how we need to click on the OK button. And when it comes to these pop-ups, these alerts, there are different types of alerts are available. Okay, this is one kind of alert where we can see only OK button, where we are clicking on OK button with the help of alert.accept. Right? So there are different other alerts are available. If I click on the second button, now this is an alert where it is showing some information, same, and we have two buttons. One is OK and one is cancel. Okay, so previously, again, you just see here, this is the first button where I have some text which is showing to the user some information, and we have only OK button. Okay, now when we click on the second button, this is another kind of alert where we have some text which is showing to the user, that is common, and along with the OK button, we also have a cancel button. Okay, so let's say if you click on JS, I can click on OK. It is saying you clicked on OK. Again, I can open the pop-up and I can click on cancel. It is saying click on cancel button. Okay, some kind of you don't have only OK button. You will be having cancel also, where you can don't accept the alert. You can cancel also. Okay, accept is something where we're clicking on OK button, correct? Alert.accept. Now what exactly the code that we need to write to click on this cancel? Okay, that we do. So let's see. So let us try to change the code a bit. Okay, instead of clicking on this button, now the button which I am clicking is changing. Now I want to click on the second button. Right? This second button I want to click. Now based on this text, previously we clicked on JS alert. Now I'm clicking on click for JS confirm, this button. So this text will change. So the same XPath, but the text will change. Let us copy the same XPath and check whether it is correct or not. Let us copy now this text, the second button text, and replace the text. Okay, second button is getting highlighted. Now I'll use this XPath. Copy the XPath Previously I had this X path, remove it and put it. So now this is X path where I want to click on the second button. Okay, so once I click on the second button, obviously I'm getting a pop-up, correct? So where I have two buttons, OK and cancel. Okay, so once I click on OK button, I'm getting a result called I clicked OK. Once I click on cancel button, I'm clicking a result called we click cancel. To make sure which button is clicking, so there is a text that we can see normally. So normally how to handle clicking on OK, we already know. alert.accept is the method where we click on a button, OK button, right? So how to click on cancel button? We will see. This text, we can do that. We will see that also one by one. Okay, now let us click on the second button. And first I'm clicking on the OK button. We will see this for the second button. Now the text is changed, right? To make sure which button is clicking, I'm getting this text. We clicked on OK. So we'll run this scenario. Waiting for 5 seconds. Clicked on OK. Okay. I clicked on OK successfully. Now OK is fine. Previously alert also I clicked on OK. Now also I clicked on OK. So now I also have a cancel button. How to click on cancel button? So this is the command that we need to use to click on cancel button. Let me comment out this code. So again use the alert reference same and dot now cancel dismiss. Okay, alert dot dismiss is the one where it helps us to click on the cancel button. Clicking on cancel button. Alert dot dismiss. This is the command that we need to use to click on the cancel button. Now let us click on cancel button. Open the pop-up. Wait for 5 seconds. Click on the cancel button. Alert dot dismiss. Okay. Or cancel. Okay, this is how we need to handle. Now we can see one more kind of pop-up will be seen. So in the same example, we will see one more example. So we clicked on OK button, we clicked on cancel button. Once we switch to this alert, the control is on the alert. That is fine, right? The control is on the alert, and we're clicking on OK button using accept. We're clicking on cancel button using dismiss. That is fine. I want to get the text out of this pop-up. I want to get the text or information which is showing to the user. I want to get the text which is showing in the pop-up. I want to take the text in the code itself. Okay, how to get the text? Okay, so similarly, we have for any web element, if you want to get the visible text, what is the command that we are using for normal web elements? If you want to get the text, what is the command that we are using? Huh? Huh? No, to get the text from a element, any web element, text, visible text which is showing, what is the command that we are using? Get text method. Web element command get text method. Get text method helps us to take the visible text where we can store it in a string, right? Here also in the pop-up, if we want to get the text from the pop-up, we have to use the get text method. Even alert is providing the same method, get text. We have web element command get text. Even for the alerts, in the alerts also we have a same method. Apart from accept and dismiss, we also have a get text method where we can get the text from the alert. Okay, visible text which is showing on the not visible text which is showing on the alert, the text which is present on the alert. So let us do that. So I don't want to click on dismiss. Okay, I want to get the alert text. Alert dot again get text method, which gives us a string. Get text will gives us a string. I can put as alert text. Okay, I print this out. We'll see what it will come. Get text will also take the text from the alert. Okay, so now let me run this scenario and see. We take the alert and then we dismiss. We get the text from the alert and then we click on cancel button, or else we can click on OK button, whatever you want. So now if I run this, first I'm switching to the alert from the normal web page. I'm going to the alert and then I'm taking the text from the alert and I'm printing it out I'm taking the text from the alert using alert.getText, and I'm printing the text which I'm taking, and then I'm clicking on cancel button. Okay, so let us run this and see. Okay, click on cancel. Execution is done. Let me close this. I am a JS confirm. This is the text which is visible on the pop-up. I'm able to print it using getText method. So alert also contains a getText. Okay. So this is how we can get the text from the alert box. The information which is showing to the user, the same text from the alert, we can get the text using getText method. This is one way that we can do. We've seen clicking on OK button, clicking on cancel button, and also getting the text from the alert. So now we have another type of alerts also available. Okay, along with OK, along with cancel buttons, we have other fields also available in the alert. We will see. Okay, if I click on the third button now there is a pop-up where we have a text. I am a JS prompt, and we have a OK button, and also we have a cancel button, right? And also along with we have a text box, right? Where we can enter some text. Let's say I'm entering Selenium and click on OK button. Okay, see the result here. I'm entering Selenium and click on OK button. You entered Selenium. Okay, if I enter Java and click on OK button, the output will be Java. So the what we need to understand here, not the output, but here there is another kind of box will be available. This kind of alerts also will be available. Till now we are seeing how to get the text, how to click on OK button using accept, how to click on cancel button using dismiss method, how to send the text. Here in the alerts also we have a method to send the text. Normally how we are sending the text? Send keys. Here also in alert we have a method called send keys. This is a different, that is a different method. That is for web elements, this is for alerts. Using the send keys, we can send the text to the alert. Once you switch to the alert, you can send the text to the using send keys method, whatever the text you want, if there is any text box in the alert. Okay, now let us do that. Now if we enter any text, okay, in let's say if you're entering Selenium, if you click on cancel, nothing will happen. Okay, you're getting a null. But if you click on try something Selenium or something, click on OK button, then we'll give it to see the Selenium. And what we will do is we enter some text and click on OK button. Okay, we will do that. So what we need to understand is the method which you want to enter. There are different other text boxes also that might appear in some alerts where we can enter the text using some send keys method. Right now we do. So now this is not the button I want to click. Now I want to click on third button. Right, I'm commenting out the second button. I want to click the third button. So again, I need to take the third button. Okay. Taking the same button where you have a text prompt. Click for JS prompt. This is the text. I'm just changing the text here. Let us see if this identifies the third element. Let us check that. Control F and then paste it. Okay, third button we're able to identify. I'm clicking on this third button and I'm switching to the alert. That is also an alert. And I'm waiting for 5 seconds. Now what I have to do is I want to enter some text inside the alert. The alert dot send keys. I want to enter Selenium. Then I want to click on OK button. Okay, I want to enter Selenium. I want to switch to the alert. I want to send the keys into this text box and I want to click on OK button. This is what I need to do. So let me run this. Okay, it's so fast we cannot see, but fine, it entered the text. So even though sometimes the text that you are entering, it not be visible like entering, but it will enter when we click on OK, that we can see the output whether it is entering or not. Okay, so let me close this. Let me wait for some time when it is entering. Let me run this. So wait for 5 seconds. Once we switch to the alert, wait for 5 seconds. We enter the text, wait for 5 seconds, click on OK button. Okay. Even though it enters into the alert text box, we cannot see sometimes because of some coding issues that they have developed. Okay. In some alerts, you might see, some alerts you might not see, but it will enter for sure. Okay. We can enter the text. And what is the, like, how it is the evidence that we can enter the text? Here we can see the Selenium. We enter the text and we click on OK button. Okay. So sometimes due to some issues, we're not able to see some technology issues kind of. If there are any alerts, if you see in any other kind of boxes, you can see. Okay. So as of now, these are the different methods that are available inside an alerts. Okay. So see, this is the, so alerts are small boxes, pop-up boxes, windows which display the messages or notifications to the user. So how to switch to an alert? This is a command where we can use the switch to an alert. Driver.switch to .alert. Okay, you no need to store like this also. So driver.switch to .alert.accept, driver.switch to .alert.dismiss. You can write the code like this also. Okay. So once you switch to the alert like this, directly you can use the methods accept, dismiss, send keys, and anything you can use. Or else this complete statement is giving us an alert. We can store it in alert, or else the complete statement after this you can directly write like this also, accept, dismiss, and all. That is also fine. Either you can store it in an alert interface and you can use the alert reference, or else you can directly, no need to store also, you can directly use like this also. Okay. And also different methods are available in alerts. So alert.accept, so it's like clicking on OK button from alert. Alert.dismiss, it's like clicking on cancel button from alert. Alert.getText, so getting the visible text from alert. And alert.send keys, to send text into the alert. So these are the different methods are available. So this is how we need to handle the alerts. Okay. Clear, everyone?
Clear, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Clear.
Right. So that's about the alerts. So the next concept that we are going to discuss is frames.
I sir, I have a doubt. మన iteration రాసుకోవచ్చు alerts కి second one or third one అలా.
No, we cannot do that.
Okay.
We have to use statements, straightforward statements. So this is, if you want to use iterations, first you need a list or array, right? If you want to iteration. So there is no list, there is no array, there is no set to iterate.
Okay.
Okay. Just a second, guys. So using getText method, so we are getting the text and we are printing it, right? The result also.
Okay button or cancel button.
No. So using getText method, only we can print the text which is visible, not the OK button or cancel button text we can print it out. So this is about the alerts. So other concept that we are going to discuss is nothing but the frames. So what is frames? First we need to understand. So what are frames or IFrames we can call it. IFrame is nothing but inline frame. Okay, frame or inline frame, frame or IFrame, anything is fine. Okay, what are frames? So frames are something like inside an HTML code document. Again, we'll have one more HTML document. Okay, inside an HTML document, normally we'll be having one more HTML document. Those are called frames, IFrames. Okay, so normally if you want to perform some inside HTML document, what we'll be having, we have different kind of elements we'll be having. Inside an HTML document, again we have HTML document. Inside HTML again, inner HTML contains again web elements. So if you want to perform some operations inside a frame, inside another HTML document, we cannot directly perform. It won't work. We will get a no such element exception. So first we need to switch to the frame, which is nothing but the inner HTML document, whatever you have, again in HTML code we have. First we need to switch to the HTML, then only we can perform on the web elements. Okay. So first of all, what is an iframe? An iframe is an HTML document embedded inside another HTML document on a website. Okay. So normally the iframe structure will be like this. Okay. we have a iframe tag will be there and ends with the iframe tag. Inside iframe we have again HTML, and inside HTML we have head, body, whatever we have. Again one more HTML complete code will be having. So if you want to perform any operation on this HTML document inside an iframe, we cannot directly perform. You will get a no such element exception. Okay. So if you want to perform any operation inside an iframe, inside an HTML document, okay, first we need to switch to the frame. This frame. First we need to switch to the frame. Once I switch to the frame, like how I'm switching to the alert and Windows. Once I switch to the frame, then I can perform any action within the frame, inside a frame. Okay. Otherwise, we cannot perform. We will see the both. How what exactly will happen if you don't switch to the frame, and if you try to find out, and what will happen once you switch to the frame. Okay. So what is an iframe? An iframe is something, an element where we can embed another HTML document inside another HTML. So normally we having HTML body, head and body. Inside body, if you go, we have multiple elements, right? So this iframe is one of the element. Inside an iframe, again we'll have one more HTML document. Okay, where we can create a website, and the one more website will be there, right? The one more website we can keep it inside this iframe, kind of. We will see. So first we will see in data level that is not required. So whenever you find an HTML document inside a body, there are one more element that you will see that is called as iframes. Inside an iframes, again we'll have HTML code. Okay, how to handle iframes we will see. So let me open this website. First, I will show you the HTML code so that you will clearly understand what exactly iframe means. Okay, so this is a website I'm using where you can see some table, and you can write some content here. Whatever the content you want. Normally, manually you can do whatever you want. That is fine. But when you're talking about coding perspective, HTML code, see how exactly it looks like. That means spec. Okay. So normally this is a HTML document, complete HTML document, right? Where we have a head and body. Head is something where we group some properties. Body contains all the elements, web elements. Clear as of now? Now we expand the body. There are multiple other elements are available inside the body. There are 3 div elements are available. Correct or wrong inside the body. Even expand the div. There are multiple elements are available. So open different kind of elements. Okay, different other elements are available. Now inside this body, somewhere you find this iframe element, right? So iframe element starts with iframe and ends with iframe. Okay, inside an iframe we can put another HTML document. Okay, if I expand the iframe, if you see another HTML document is available, to expand this document, again HTML code is there where we have again head and body, head and body. Okay, if you want to work with this HTML body elements inside this body, okay, inside this iframe, if you want to work with any of the web elements, we cannot directly work. First, we need to switch to this iframe. Okay, this iframe, first we need to switch to this iframe, and once we switch to the iframe, then we can perform any action within the iframe. Otherwise, we cannot perform. Now, so this is a text box where it is present inside the iframe. Okay, let me open. Okay. Okay, this is the element where I can enter some text. Let's say I'm entering Selenium. Okay, it is entering Selenium here. In this paragraph, P is nothing but the paragraph. Okay, in this element, I'm entering some text, right? So now Selenium entered Selenium. So Selenium training I'll enter. It will enter the Selenium training. Dynamically, it will change. That is fine. So I need to identify this P element. Like this element, I want to identify. This is not an input element. This is a paragraph element where we can enter some text also. Now I want to identify this paragraph element and I want to enter some text. First, normally we write the code, how exactly we're writing the code, and we'll try to see whether we're able to enter it or not. Okay, and then we see different other options, how to enter. So first, let me create a new package. And create a package called IFrames. I is nothing but inline frames. Okay, iframes. So I'm going to create a class called iframe example. The same. So first we need to open the website. So what is the website? So this is the website. Okay. Once I open the website, where I need to enter the text? Here inside this paragraph element, I need to enter some text. So identify this paragraph element where it is identified. So this is the ID for the body, right? Or else I can use. Okay. So there is only one element with tag P. Okay, there is no other elements available with tag. I can use tag name here. Driver dot find element by dot tag name. I'm going to use tag name. So driver dot, because there is only one element with the tag name, I can use it directly. So driver dot find element by dot tag name. What is the tag name? P. Okay, once I reload the page, there is already text is available by default. First, I need to clear the text, and then I need to enter the new text. So if you want to clear the text, so this is a web element that I'm storing in some web element. Okay. I want to import the web element from org.opencreated.selenium. First, I need to clear the text. What is the command that we need to use? Web element command, clear. Element dot clear. And then I want to enter some text using send case. It's nothing but Selenium training. So first, let us see whether it works or not. So then if it is not working, again, we'll discuss the same frames concept. Nothing is happening. It didn't clear the text and we didn't enter the text. So we got a exception we got. At where we got exception? In this file, at the 19th line, we got an exception. So here, whenever we're trying to find an element, we are not able to find an element. So what exception we got? We got a no such element exception. It is saying that there is no such element that is found. But when we are trying to identify, it is identified, P element, correct? Even you can write XPath also to identify. Under the body, we have a P element. Okay, so body ID you can use. The body contains ID. So this is ID. Inside this body, I have a P element. Even though we are writing the XPath expression or the tag name, we are able to identify the element here. The XPath expression or the tag, it is returning the element, but we are not able to perform any action. We are not able to find the element at all. Selenium is not able to find because these elements are present inside an iframe. Okay, if you want to work with these elements, first we need to switch to the frame. Then only you can perform. So there are different ways that we can switch to the frame. So Windows, we are able to switch using window IDs. And alerts, we don't have anything. Alerts, we can directly switch. But here, if you want to switch to the frame, we have three different ways that we can switch to the frame. Using the index, okay, using the index, using the ID, frame ID, and also using the name. Okay, three ways we can switch to the frame. So once we switch to the frame, then we can perform any action within the frame. Okay, so there are different ways that we can switch to the frame. Using index, index starts with 0. Okay, index starts with 0. And also using name or ID. We can use name or ID. And also using web element, using iframe web element. We will see all these options how to do this. Okay. Now, so I need to switch to this safe iframe. So what I'm going to do is, so how many iframes are available inside this particular page? That we put double slash and iframe. The tag name iframe, right? So how many iframes are present? Only one. So I can use index. What is index? Only one frame is available. If there are multiple iframes are available, we can switch to any iframe based on the index from the starting to ending. So what is only one frame is available? So what will be the index? index 0. Index starts from 0. If you put 0, then I can able to find this iframe. If I put 1, another iframe. If you have any other iframes. As of now, we have only one for iframe. We can switch to this iframe using index 0. Okay. So using index, we can switch to the iframe. So what is the command that we need to use? So before identifying the element, first we need to switch to the iframe so that we can identify the element within the iframe. So before writing this, I need to switch to the iframe. Driver dot switch to. This is the command that we need to use. Driver dot switch to dot window, that is for Windows, dot alert, that is for alert. Now driver dot switch to dot frame is for frames. Okay. Now inside the frame, we need to pass the index 0. Right? So now we have switched to the frame. So once we switch to the frame, then we can identify this element. Now we won't get any no such element exception because we are already inside a frame. Then inside a frame, we can identify the element. We can clear the text. We can send the whatever we want to do inside a frame on any element. We can do. Now let me run this. So this is how we need to switch using index, frame index. Okay, we're able to enter. It is very fast. Let me put some time before clearing the text. Let me put some time for 5 seconds. After clearing the text, let us wait for some time. Okay, let me run this again. I have switched to the iframe, waiting for 5 seconds, and then clearing the text, waiting for 5 seconds, and entering the new text. Cleared the text, again waiting for 5 seconds. Entering the text. Okay. Now, when real time. Okay. If you're not able to find out, even though the XPath or CSS selector or anything that you're using, that is giving us 1 of 1, you're able to identify that element, and you're getting a no such element exception. In that case, you try to give some wait time, thread.sleep, before doing the operation. Even though you're giving some wait time like 5 seconds or 10 seconds, even though you're not able to perform an action, but make sure whether that element is present in iframe or not. Okay, whether that element is present inside an iframe or not. If it is inside an iframe, we cannot directly perform the action. First, we need to switch to the frame, then only can perform the action. Okay, once we switch to the frame, then only we can identify the first. We need to identify element, then only can identify. Otherwise, the element is not visible. Clear? Guys, any questions as of now?
No, sir, clear.
Okay. So let me close this. So this is one way that we can switch to a frame. If there are multiple frames are available in your page, in your web page. So from the top to bottom, if you see the index starts from 0, we can switch to any frame using index. Okay, this is one way. The other way is using ID and name. So for every frame element, iframe element, normally if you see here, so there is ID associated with it. ID. As of now, there is no name, but if you have a name attribute, you can use that also. But as of now, we have ID. We can use ID to identify this frame, where we can use this ID to identify the frame and switch to it. Okay, let me use this, copy this. Instead of switching with the name, sorry, index, I want to switch to the frame. Same command, driver dot switch to dot frame. But now inside I need to pass either name or ID, the string value we need to pass. Inside the double quotes, I need to pass the ID or name. Currently, I have only ID attribute. You can pass anything. Either ID you can pass or name you can pass. Like this also, we can identify a specific frame element. And we are switching to it. Correct? Now, once we switch, the same concept. Again, we can perform the action. The switching is different. However you want to switch, you can switch. But switching is important. That is the main concept. Okay. So we can perform. And similarly, like ID, you can pass in the double quotes name attribute value also. If you have a name attribute, you can pass the name value also. That also works same. You can switch to the frame using ID or name. Using index we have seen. Using name or ID also we have seen. You can use it any of the attribute. Okay. And again, one more thing, if you are not able to find the element n number of times also, Just make sure whether it is in a frame or not. That's what we miss. Okay, just make sure whether it is in a frame or not. Okay, so switching is important. Now, one more way that we can identify this is using web element. Okay, let's say index normally we won't use it. There are multiple frames are available. We cannot use index. Index can keep on changing. They can, when the developers can make the frames. So, for example, there are two frames, frame 1 and frame 2. After some time, frame 2 they can make it as frame 1 also. So, index are not every time works, right? So, for example, from the frame you don't have name or ID. Where I don't want to use index, I don't want to use index at all, and I don't want, there is no name or ID for the iframe. It's not mandatory, right? That they will not be keeping ID or name. Currently, there is no name here. Similarly, there is no ID also. In that case, how I can identify? I can identify the iframe using any of the locator mechanism that we are using. Either XPath you can write or CSS selector you can write. Any of the mechanism you can write to identify this iframe element. Now I'm going to identify this iframe element using some XPath. Okay, XPath is something like we can use this or CSS selector. Not class. Inside the class, I have iframe. Correct? Inside below the class only I have iframe, right? I need to identify this iframe. However, you want to identify, that is different. Okay. Once you identify this iframe element, then we can switch. Switching helps, like switching in instance, the control will be here in the document once we switch to the element, so that we can perform any action inside the HTML. So now I want to identify this iframe. I'm writing a CSS selector. How to navigate to iframe from this div element? Front arrow. Yes, correct. You should answer from the parent to child. So iframe is a child to div, right? So I need to provide this ID. No, I don't want to provide ID. I just want to provide the tag name. So iframe. If I want to provide ID, I need to put hash symbol, hash and ID. Now I can use tag name also. So this is CSS selector to identify this iframe web element. So first we need to identify this iframe web element, right? How to identify? Driver dot find element by dot CSS selector. Inside this, I'm going to pass this. This is a CSS selector. I'm going to pass a CSS selector. So this is a web element. Frame element, something like this I'm keeping. Okay. So once I identify the element, now I have to use, I can switch to the frame. Okay. Driver dot switch to dot frame. Now I have seen a method which accepts the index. I have seen a method which accepts name or ID. Now I am creating a method where I want to identify using this element, web element of the frame. Okay. I have identified the frame. Okay, frame element, and I can switch to that using the web element also. If you have ID or name, directly go and use the ID or name of the frame. If you don't find ID or name for the frame element, then you have to identify the frame using any of the mechanism, either XPath or CSS selector. However you want to identify that, you have to store it in some web element, and you have to switch to that frame using this web element, frame web element. Okay, again the concept is same. Once you switch to the frame, you can perform the action inside a frame. You can find the elements inside a frame, otherwise cannot find. Okay. Yes, it's done. We're able to enter we're able to clear the text, we're able to enter the text. So this is how to handle frames. Okay, the frame is something, it's where we have a inside HTML document will be available inside another HTML document. Okay, frame helps us to put another HTML document inside an HTML. So if you want to work with inner HTML documents inside a frame, first we need to switch to the frame, then only we can identify the element. Otherwise, we cannot identify the element and we cannot perform any action if we don't identify the element. So switching works. There are different ways of switching. One is using ID, one is using name or ID. So one is using index, one is using name or ID, and another one is using the web element, iframe web element. You need to identify the iframe web element and switch to the web element. Once you switch to the frame, any of this technique you can use to switch to the frame, and then you can work on this web element, right? So this is about handling the iframes, where we can switch to the frame and we can work on the frame elements. So now once we switch to the frame, the control will be inside this iframe. Now if you want to identify the outer elements, you cannot identify because the control is inside the iframe. If you want to identify the outer elements, once you switch to the frame, you will get a no such element exception because you are inside a frame. Outside frame elements you cannot identify once you switch to the frame. Okay, so how to handle again? How to come to the main HTML content? We will see. First, we'll try to find out an element which is outside. Okay, this thing, and then we'll try to see what exactly we need to do. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll take one example here. Okay, so I'm using this S3 tag. Okay, just a second. So this is the text which is paired, right? In this side, so this text is available in the outer HTML. In the outer, not inside a frame. It is available directly in the normal HTML code. It is not available inside an iframe. So as of now, we have switched to the iframe. Now, if I try to identify this element outside the frame, okay, where I want to identify this S3 element and I want to get the text from the S3 element using getText method. So first I need to identify this element, right? S3 element. Then I can use the getText method to get the text. So this is not inside a frame. This is outside a frame. Now let us try to identify this. Okay, S3 element is available. Using XPath we can use because there is only one element /S3, or else you can use tag name S3 directly because there is only one element which is with the tag S3. Now once I switch to the frame and I'm clearing the text and entering the text, and then after switching to the frame, I'm trying to identify the outside element. So now driver dot find element by dot tag name h3 is the tag name. Inside h3 I have some text which is visible on the web page. I want to get the text which in between the tags using getText method. So what I'm going to store into, like, I'm going to put as label, something like this. Okay, now I want to print the label dot get text. Okay, once you switch to the frame, I'm trying to find an element. Finding is important. I'm trying to find an element which is outside the frame. Okay, so let's see what will happen. Okay, we switch to the frame. We have cleared the text. We have entered the text. Till now it is fine. Now we'll see what will happen. I think execution is done. Okay, we got an exception. Where we got an exception? In this file at the 37th line, I got an exception. Okay, what exception we got? No such element exception. We are not able to find the element outside the frame because we are already inside a frame. Okay, outside the frame elements, once you switch to any frame element, only within the frame, inside the frame only we can identify the elements. Outside the frame elements, we cannot identify the elements. Okay, once you switch to the frame, how to come back to the main HTML content? Switching is fine, but how to come back to the normal HTML content? Okay, so there is a command where we can come back to the normal HTML content using this command, driver.switch2.default content. This command helps us to come back from the frame, and the control will be on the normal HTML code, normal main document. Okay, main HTML document. Now let us try to, before identifying this tag h3, okay, because here only I got an issue to identifying, right? Once I switch to the frame and I perform whatever the action that I want, if I want to come back to the main HTML document, first I need to use this command so that I can identify the outside element also. So driver dot switch to dot default content. This is the statement that we need to use. Driver dot switch to dot default content. So inside a frame, I'm there, I'm performing some action, and I'm coming to the main HTML document, and I'm trying to identify any element inside a main HTML document. So now if I come back to the main HTML document, again I cannot identify the frame documents. Again I have to switch if I want to. Okay. So now let us see if we're able to identify. Previously we got an exception. Now if you see if we're able to get the text out of it. We are switching to the frame, right? We are clearing the text. We entered some text, right? And we are coming out of the frame using default content. And let us see what will happen. Now we won't get any exception. We are able to print the label text. There is no exception now. Okay, so driver.switch2.default content helps us to come to the main HTML document from the frame, so that we can perform any other operations outside the frame. Again, if you want to switch, again you have to use any of the switch command, any of the allocating like ID, name, or again using iframe web element, you can switch using any of these techniques. Okay, this is about frames. Done with the frames. Any questions as of now? Clear, everyone?
Clear, sir.
That's about today. Okay, so we have discussed about alerts and frames. Okay, so where we have to use driver.switch2. Driver.switch2 helps us to switch to windows or alerts or frames. Okay, so driver.switch2.window, where we need to pass the window ID to switch to a window. Driver.switch2.alert helps us to switch to alert automatically, and driver.switch2.frame helps us to switch to a frame. Okay. Yeah. So that's about frames. I'm done with the class today. Any questions as of now? Any queries? And yeah, on Monday we won't be having the class. Okay, I'm going for my hometown, so I'll not be available. Okay, so Monday there won't be any class. Anyway, we'll put a message in the group as well. Yeah, but Monday there is no class. Okay.
We have Tuesday, sir, class?
Yeah, from Tuesday we'll be having the class regularly, but Monday we don't have class.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So we'll keep you posted in the group itself. Okay, no problem. Yeah. Thanks everyone. So thanks for joining the session. Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Bye, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Thank you, sir.